So, drama, the opposite. Sandra is fluid or liquid. It's gonna aggravate kapha and pitta. I'm sorry.
I thought when you said Sandra, I was fluid.
Drava. No, drava is the opposite of Sandra. So fluid is the opposite of. I just didn't finish mine.
Oh, that's
It also increases the quantity of excretion of malas. So the main function is to dissolve and liquefy. Mrudu, soft. It increases kapha and pitta and diminishes vata. It brings fragility to the tissue. Fragility to the tissues. Excuse me. It's useful in reducing burning, inflammation, and secretions. Soft. One of the qualities of ghee is soft. So whenever you burn yourself, if right away you put ghee on the burn, it's really completely heals. But it has to be like right after the burn.
Where do you get ghee? Or you make it?
Yeah, we can make, you learn how to make it in the cooking class, or I can teach you how to make it. Or you can buy it in Whole Foods or Nutrition Smart. You buy it in the section where they have the cheese and the milk and the yogurt. It's a glass container. It comes in a glass container, so it's clarified butter. But it's really what moves all the toxicity, softens it. It's even used, even though it's like you think it's oil, like it's even used to reduce high cholesterol. It's used for the eyes, for everything. Huh?
You eat it?
Yeah, it's like a butter. It's clarified butter. So you cook the butter, you buy unsalted organic butter, and you cook it down like medium heat. And you're gonna see it starts boiling slowly, and there's like a foam that forms on top, and then you have like particles that come to the bottom, like dark brown. So the whole process is maybe like 15 minutes or so. So basically when it gets like a golden color and you have like dark foam on top, the ghee is formed, and you filter that, you strain it, and it's like butter but a little softer. So basically what you're doing, I always call it like taking the heart attack out of the ghee. But basically what you're doing, you're removing the solid particles from the ghee. And from the butter, sorry. So what you have is like, that's the purest thing that you can eat from an animal. Yeah. So even my vegan clients, I kind of convince them to use ghee.
You convince them?
Yeah, because I bring them to papers of research about the benefits of ghee. And I say, that this is like really for medicinal purposes, which is true. I mean, we use them, especially there are a lot of medicines for the eyes that is medicated ghee. That would cure completely like glaucoma, like many other conditions. Like you'll study, we'll go through that. So
maybe I should start using that. Maybe I should start using that.
Oh, you're vegan. But no, seriously, I didn't. But you'll learn, and then you use it when it's needed. I mean, if it's something you don't want. But in Panchakarma, we do. We use this. It's called tikta ghee. It's bitter ghee, because all the herbs I have are bitter. So it has like a scraping effect. You can pass it around. So it's a ghee that is medicated, and they take it like 3, 5, 6 tablespoons while they're going through the process to soften the
And
internal.
coconut oil doesn't do the same thing? Coconut oil. doesn't do
No,
the same thing?
no, not for this purpose. Even coconut oil, it's amazing. You know, and it has an affinity for Ashti Dhatu, like the nails, the hair. Actually, coconut oil, even though to remove makeup, you will use almond oil, not coconut oil. Almond oil will remove eye makeup easier than coconut oil. Why, I don't know. But coconut oil does have an affinity for the fine lines around the eyes. So you can remove with coconut oil, but your moisturizer for around the eye should be coconut oil.
So you can put actually the coconut oil on your eyes?
Yeah, around, you know, but for the fine lines, and it actually has an affinity for that. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. But to remove makeup, nothing is better than almond oil. So we'll study that too. It's fine. Katina. Okay, so we talked about burning. Katina, hard, the opposite of soft. Hard is going to increase vata. And in some occasions, kapha.
Because of the earth quality?
Because when a tumor is formed, yeah, when a tumor is formed, it will be like hard, something that is hard, something that is dense. So this hard quality, especially on food, would aggravate that. So it can increase kapha only when there's like a medical condition. Decreases pitta. Provides hardness and strength to the dhatus, tissues. To the dhatus. It dries up. Excreta or mouth. It increases rigidity and calluses. Imagine that.
And for status.
Callus, yes. Callus. Stira, static. It increases kapha and reduces vata and pitta. It strengthens all dhatus. Brings stability and support. also it can bring immobility and firmness. Immobility and firmness. Shaga is also known as Sada, so put it somewhere there, because in some books you can see Sada. S-A-R-A.
Oh, sad.
It increases Vata and Pitta. It reduces Kapha. This guna promotes mobility, defecation, and gas. The action is fast and scraping. Okay, so what do you think stula, gross or bulkiness, will do to the doshas? What would it do to Vata, Pitta, or Kapha?
Increase Vata,
It would increase Kapha.
decrease Vata and Pitta.
Yes. It delays the disintegration of an herb. Obstruction of channels. Or shrotas. It increases tissue weight, and it can obstruct the shoulders. Oh, we already said that, I'm sorry. So what Sukshma would do?
Increases Vata,
It would increase Vata.
decrease Kapha,
And what would it do to Pitta?
decrease.
Increase.
Increase?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Pitta is considered
So,
okay.
yeah.
I think sharp when I think Pitta, and I don't think that like sharp
That could be
isn't
subtle. Yeah.
Sharp is subtle?
No, sharp is sharp and subtle is subtle. But they're both part of Pitta.
Yeah.
That's why Pitta can be very manipulative.
Yeah.
It could be, very sharp and very like no filter, but it can also get their ways through very manipulative ways. So those are two qualities also. Besides all the wonderful people. Besides all the wonderful gunas of Pitta. It is defined as the finest of all substances. Finest quality which an herb can penetrate through the minute channels of the body. That's the quality when you want something that can penetrate as deep as possible. That herb has to have that subtle quality. Right? It reduces tissue weight. And quantity of malas also works great. Then you have clouding or sticking. What would it do to the doshas? You guys.
Sticky will increase kapha, decrease vata pitta.
Causes cohesiveness. In body and mind. Coating effect on the tissues. This guna acts as a lepana. I'll explain now. Acts lepana.
The cohesiveness body, is that what it does?
Cohesiveness in the body and the mind. And it acts as a lepana. Lepana is a paste that you will use in Ayurveda. Like some herbs, you cannot take them or ingest them, or we use like a lepana, which is like a paste. So that's a sticky, that's the quality, you know, for that lepana to stick on the skin. Lepana, you can just say that it's a paste, an herbal paste or medicinal paste or formulation in the form of a paste. And Vishara, which is clear. It provides clean and clear state of the tissue. It's going to increase vata.
Oops, sorry. I knew you were going to ask.
And reduces kapha. Very good. Provides clean and clear state of tissues. Clean and clear state of tissues. But too much of an excess of clear qualities will be aggravating vata pitta. You know, it's like too much cleansing. Like nowadays, you know, like how people are so obsessed with cleansing. You know, it actually does, like the smoothies or like the green drinks that are so awesome. They're really good. I mean, if you have them, but there's some people that just spend like all day having green smoothies or every day with non-stop. And those, remember, those are like they're raw. So eventually, even though it has such a cleansing effect, it's going to make your body so cold inside that it will be very vata aggravating. So to an extent, they are cleansing. These green drinks, they do clean the body. But they can be very cold and dry. So that's why you have to kind of... Okay. I do want to read to you about the gunas. It says, Charaka, the great Ayurvedic physician of ancient times, found that all organic and inorganic substances, as well as thoughts and actions, have different attributes. These attributes contain potential energy and express the static nature of a substance, while the actions express kinetic energy. Attributes and actions are closely related, since the potential energy of the attribute eventually becomes an action. The potential energy of the attribute eventually becomes an action. Okay? Is that clear?
Yes.
Charaka categorized these attributes into 10 opposite pairs. The opposite forces function together. Basically, the universe is the manifestation of the two opposites, male and female energy. These pairs of opposites must be understood as having relative relationships, relative to subject, relative to individual, and also relative to a standard normality. Nothing is absolute. So I'll give you Vata, Pitta, Kapha each have their own attributes. In fact, each of these terms is really only a name for a grouping of attributes. Vata represents the collection of dry, light, cold, rough, subtle, mobile, and clear qualities. Pitta, similarly, is made up of hot, sharp, light, liquid, mobile, and slightly oily. Kapha includes attributes of heavy, slow, dull, cold, oily, liquid, slimy or smooth, dense, soft, static and sticky or cloudy. In Ayurveda, there is a law which states that like increases like. When similar qualities come together, their quantitative expression increases. For example, the summer season has attributes similar to dosha, pitta. Okay, so if you have a person who is pitta constitution, is eating spicy foods outside in a summer day at 1 p.m., what do you think is going to happen? She's going to fight with somebody, you bet. You know? So this is what it comes down to. So the same qualities, of course, is going to aggravate. Like, that's what we've been doing. You know, like mrudu, you know, like soft. What is it going to do to kapha? You know, kapha is softness. Which you're going to go into the doshas more. I'll do the introduction in the next class, and then the doctor, when she does anatomy and physiology, will go even more in depth. So you have, okay. Guru. The heavy quality increases kapha and decreases vata and pitta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guru promotes growth in the body. Meat, cheese, yogurt, and sugar are heavy. Eating heavy foods may cause weight gain, absolutely. Sleep is also heavy, and sleeping for 10 hours leaves a person feeling heavy through the day. But also it depends on the time. Let's say you set the alarm before. Also there are times during the day, which we're going to study next class, that are Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So very early, before 6 o'clock, that's Vata time. 3 to 6, 4 to 6, you know, that's Vata time. So if you set the alarm around that time, you know that you can wake up. If you stay in bed until 8 o'clock, it's going to be very hard for you to get out of bed. Because that's kapha time. So the atmosphere, there's more kapha qualities around that time. That's why for students, the best time to study very early, for meditation very early, because there is subtleness, is clearness in the space. So it promotes learning. It promotes peace, like concentration, focus. You see, so if you wait to kapha time, forget it. So that's why there are medicines, herbs that are they're giving in the specific times. And then you learn why Ayurveda we give herbs before food and others after food, and others in between the meals, like while you're eating. Other medicines that are recommended 20 minutes before eating because of the quality of these medicines, of these herbs. So basically, what was I saying here? Oh, the sleeping. So when you wake up, if you wait until 8 o'clock, it's going to be very hard for you to, versus like the earlier, you might think it's not, but you can just be more alert than if you stay after 6 o'clock. You're doomed.
You're done.
So, eating and not doing much physical activity is heavy. So I'm just going through this because this is very interesting. It creates a dialogue, okay? To some extent, we need heavy quality for nourishment, groundness, centeredness, and stability. However, too much of this quality slows digestion, metabolism, and creates dullness. That's why this quality is going to promote nourishment and groundiness. That's why kids, they're in kapha stage of life, from 0 to 18 years old. You have end of life. You have 18, 52 or so. So this is kapha time, pitta time, and this is vata time. So the kids from 0 to 18 years old or so, you're gonna want them to eat heavy stuff. Like they're making muscle, bones, cartilage, tissue. I mean, they're forming, so it's okay. They can have, you see it with kids. They eat whatever and they're so slim and so they can do anything because they're just building. Now, from 18 to 50 or 52, that's pitta time. That's when you go to school. That's when you study. That's when you become a mother. When you create a family. You're more, all of us in this room, we're on pitta time stage, right? Everybody? We're all on pitta stage still. But we're all dying. You're dying every day. So we're all moving towards vata. So that's why I want that 22 gallon thing to dip myself, because we're towards vata. We're everything. So from 52 to the end of life is vata. So the dryness and that cold qualities, they get even more aggravated. Whether you're a vata, pitta, or kapha person. They say you're a vata person, you still have kapha stage of life and pitta stage of life, even though you're a vata. But when you're going towards vata, believe me, you're gonna really feel it. So that's why you see older people that you want warmer things. The older we get, we desire like more soups and more things that are nourishing than just like, oh, give me just. Unless you're very out of balance, like when you first get sick. You want the opposite quality. You want, I need something warm. When it's very chronic, you want ice creams and chips, and you're like with a fever, and you still want, because you've gone so far removed. When you're out of balance, that intelligence in the cells is not there anymore. So it doesn't really matter. You just go with what you want, there's no, like, I don't know if I think I told you a couple of you guys in one of the workshops, like I had a client. We were doing a panchakarma, and he said during the panchakarma he went to the same restaurant that he goes with his girlfriend all the time for 5 years. It's actually a nice place, like a nice. And he said when they opened the kitchen door, I wanted to die because of the smell that came out of the kitchen, and that's the place I've been eating my whole, for the last 5 years. And I say, of course, because your cells have recovered the intelligence. This person was in the middle of a cleansing process. He was doing amazing, and all the food, everything he was eating, imagine. So he just went because his girlfriend wanted to go. He's like, I'm just gonna go have my khichdi because he couldn't eat anything else. And he had that experience. He's like, it was like literally like rotten food. And I can't believe I've been eating here for so long. So, it's very interesting how the cells can recover that intelligence. Like the same thing with the taste buds, The more spices and the more you abuse, you're going to start losing your taste buds, where you're not going to taste anymore. Like, recognize the taste, like the difference in the taste. The same thing with music, like so loud, you cannot hear subtle vibrations anymore. Because you have abused the organ of perception, the organ of action. You see? Like the same thing, please don't use like the toothbrush on your tongue, since now we're studying now like with the authority to tell you. The toothbrush and the tongue, don't do that because you're destroying your taste buds eventually. You get a scraper, a tongue scraper, because it's an even pressure what you're using. So that's what you should do instead of getting hold of the poor organ. It's so abrasive now that I think about it. Okay, so lago, light. It's gonna decrease vata, of course, because vata is light, it's a space and air, right? Increase vata and pitta and decrease kapha. So the quality increases vata and pitta and decreases kapha. The opposite of heavy is lago, which we know. This quality makes the body alert and attentive. But too much of the quality creates a spaciness, ungroundedness, and instability. It creates insecurity, fear, and anxiety. So if vata is air, imagine if you're adding foods that are light. How's that air gonna be? It's even lighter. It's gonna make it lighter. So you see this person that their eyes is gonna be like, they walk into a place and they're like this, you see, like moving like that, because those qualities are being aggravated. Okay. Now you're thinking about who you know that does that. It's so funny. That starts happening, especially after next class. Manda. The slow qualities increases kapha and decreases vata and pitta. Is that confirmed? Increases kapha, right? Manda creates sluggishness, slow action, relaxation, and dullness, as well as calm, quiet, and silence. Rich and fatty foods induce this quality. Rich and fatty foods will induce this quality. Tikshna, sharp. The sharp quality increases vata and pitta and decreases kapha. Sharp qualities are present in cayenne pepper and other spicy foods. Fire is hot and sharp. This quality improves learning, concentration, understanding, appreciation, and comprehension. In excesses can create ulcers. We talked about that. Chitta. The cold quality increases vata and kapha and decreases pitta. It creates numbness, unconsciousness, contraction, stagnation, fear, insensitivity in the body. Exposure to cold weather reduces the natural resistance of the throat. Exposure to cold weather will reduce the natural resistance of your throat. That's like when you get the wind, and that's why people wear this when they're like in the motorcycle or something, because the vocal cords will be gone. And there is a vata side also. If you think about it, so much movement that happens there. It may promote sore throat if your internal fire or Agni is not strong enough to give protection. So here you see the relationship between Agni. How can someone affect the throat, but if you have a strong Agni, nothing will happen to your throat.
The heat is gonna like block whatever cold.
Right, because the cold, what the cold does, remember when we talk about cold that it reduces your immunity?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a strong Agni, your immunity is going to be working properly. So nothing is going to, get in the way of that. When you have strong Agni, that's why you say, like, even if you eat foods that are not, like doshically appropriate, if you have good Agni, you'll be able to digest it. That's why Agni is like, Agni. It's a Maha Agni. Agni is Maha. So, hot, Ushna. The whole quality promotes cleansing. We all know that. That's why Panchakarma, you want to do this in the junction of the season or between summer and fall. Because the channels are wider, they're more dilated. Like if you're winter time, you're gonna be constricted. Like nothing wants to move in the winter time. You just wanna be, imagine if you do a cleansing procedure in the winter time. The person will just suffer greatly for a very long time. I'm traumatized, I will never come back again. Yeah, so you wait. Ideally it's in the junction of the season, but here in the place we live, you have such a large range because here's like an endless summer. So it's okay. I mean, you don't do it November, December, January, but the rest of the year is pretty much safe. Even though I wouldn't do it after October. Like I do Panchakarmas until between March and September. Not before and no after. So we talked about green chilies, cayenne pepper. Of course, this increases pitta because the person can get very irritable and angry. And also, that is not here, but it can cause infertility. Like especially when you travel to India, and especially the place where we're gonna go in Kerala, there are like two big places that specialize only in fertility. Because there's so many cases of infertility because the place is really warm and they eat this highly spicy food, like super spicy. So it's all the sperm, everything is like burnt out. Like there's so much heat in the body that they cannot survive under circumstances. There's a lot of infertility. It's amazing because of food and the geography of the place, where they live. We had a case there. It had nothing to do with food. The poor thing, he was sitting on since he was 13, that was at the hospital there. He was sitting, it was, ¿cómo se llama? En una máquina de coser.
Sewing machine.
In a sewing machine since he was 13 working. So that position destroyed all his reproductive functions. Imagine from 13 to 30, that was his work. He would spend like long hours working like this. So all his X is the woman. All his reproductive functions were like completely like paralyzed. So he was on a treatment. He was staying at the hospital to see with all these treatments to see if there would be. They could have life. I mean, if he could produce something because everything was pretty much dead. No, I left. I never found out. I just knew the case because we were doing rotations in the hospital. I just saw it. And there were so many cases of infertility just because of diet. The same thing like here. Like I've had many clients, runners, Imagine that Vata aggravation. Like all they do is like running and do kickboxing. Kickboxing is very Pitta aggravating. That is major. It creates so many trauma. I mean, emotional. It has an emotional component. When you see, imagine punching. You think you're doing an exercise, but imagine what that's stimulating within you. So all these guys that I've had, like major imbalances, like emotional stuff. And you see them that what they practice is like kickboxing. I'm like, no wonder. You know, it's really interesting. But you get all these women running marathons or doing these activities that are very Vata aggravating, like moving. Everything is moving, music, this and that, and they lose their period completely. They lose their period. So then you have to put them in a plan because they dry out. The same thing, like angry, like so much anger, it can make you don't lose your period because the heat is so intense inside that it does the opposite. You see, like we're talking about dryness from the exercise, but also there's dryness from intense heat. Internal heat. So you dry out, you don't see. It's not like you don't ovulate, you ovulate, but the period doesn't really show. You don't see the period because of that intensity. So it could go, you know, all the gunas can operate in a way, it could go either way. Like you can think that dry or wet, they might cause the same reaction depending on their, you know, underuse, overuse, or irregular use of something, of a substance or an activity.
What about heavy period?
Well, that's also, you know, it could be like your dosha, like kapha, like a lot of kapha or pitta. It depends, you know. That's why you need to ask so many questions. It's not like heavy periods, but there will be like clots. Do you have like pain? Do you have cramps? Right. How many days does that last? And how many days in between? Like you learn that when you study assessment. That's the class after anatomy and physiology. I think you study assessment and then you do psychology, if I'm not mistaken. So anyhow, you go through that. Which period is Vata, which period is Pitta, and which period is Kapha. And then when you know what's normal, then you know what's not normal, according to the constitution. Let's say you're a Vata person. So maybe your period lasts, 3 days, scanty, with some pain. For you, that's normal. But if a Kapha person says scanty, 2 days, that's not normal. You see what I mean? So it depends on the constitution. And that's when you start asking those questions to see. Remember those philosophies that we study, what to compare. You need to compare to something. And what do you compare it to? To what is Samadosha. I sent you, by the way, you got it on your phone, the pronunciation of the sutra. You got it? Okay. So you can listen to it every day. When we meet again, you can chant it. You can say it. Seriously, I will ask you. Okay, so hot. We talked about hot, we talked about infertility. Oily. Snigdha. The oily qualities increases Pitta, Kapha decreases Vata. Snigdha brings relaxation. So, some of those that come to consultation, they know this, the rest of you. Oil will promote groundedness and relaxation. So you or your kid, if you have difficulty falling asleep or you feel like a little anxious or you want to be like really grounded, what do? The center of your head, you place the base of your palm, everybody, and where the middle finger lays, that is the center of your head. Not here, it's right here. Or also the apex of the ears, you come all the way up, but I find it better if I do this. It's more accurate for me. So right there, you apply oil before going to bed. You apply oil in the temples, on the palms, and the soles of the feet. Energy dissipates through those areas. So that's something you do to ground yourself. Like before me coming here, you can check my crown, it's always gonna be oily. Why? Because I wanna be grounded. I wanna be smooth. I wanna be.
What oil do you use?
I use sandalwood.
Sandalwood.
Yes.
It's my favorite.
To me, it's like the most auspicious thing you can use on your body. Like it's very. That's what they have in the temples. All the temples outside, before you walk in the temple, the powder is sandalwood because it clears. It clears. It's even though it's a root. I'm sorry, it's not a root. It's a bark. I mean, sandalwood tree comes from that bark or that. It's very not only grounding, but it's a quality. It gives you like openness, like understanding, like I don't know. Like I've used all of them, but you know, it depends. For me, actually, it's just amazing. And it has an affinity, you know, for the skin, for the hair,
Oh, it's my favorite.
for the lavender is beautiful. Well, we're going to study those. What's better for Vata, for Pitta, and for Kapha. So don't worry. This is just your first class, and there's a lot to come. So. Okay, so the oil. So it will ground you. It will, like, if your kid, when you feel her, like, she's like, if you put some oil on the crown, it will. That's how I was able to travel with a 2-year-old to India. My head of my child was dripping. Like, you see the oil? It got so much oil, it was like, I was like, baby. It was so interesting. Seriously, it was amazing. And still to this day, when I feel him a little, like, let's say we go to a place where, you know, like a concert or a thing, like I put oil just to be like extra. I have like an extra support that everything is gonna be smooth. And he is so interesting. He knows. He knows. Like, you know. But you know, these are things you should do for your own. You know, and at least once a week you oil your scalp. You can use coconut oil. You can use. I prepare an oil. I don't have it for sale now, but it has like all the herbs that have an affinity for like early graying of the hair, loss of hair. And it was very interesting because you know what happened? I gave it to a client that is blonde. Francis, are you listening to this? I gave it to a client that is blonde, and the lady, I say, listen, this is like for dark. I mean, it could, like, it promotes, it prevents early graying of the hair. She's like, you won't believe this, my hair, since I've been using that, it's like dark. I don't want it. I love the oil, but it's like dark. And I'm like, you don't notice because you have black hair, but I have blonde hair. It was interesting because you were the first blonde person that used that oil, and she actually saw that the hair was becoming darker.
That's cool.
It was so interesting. Yeah, it's like, because you read it and you think, oh, this herbs, but it was not. I mean, this woman that was like my first experience. Like I knew these herbs, you know, that they have an affinity for the hair, but I never knew that it really it could interact with the pigment. So anyhow, yes, you know, like that. I thought it was interesting. That's all. Like, oh my god, like, okay, just use coconut. So you know, like you oil your scalp, you know, at least once a week, you know, and you have like all this tissue. This is dead tissue. So at least you bring like some dead tissue, but it will absorb whatever you put. It's like skin; it will absorb whatever you put in it. So from now on, just be mindful. You know. Okay. Ruksha, dry. The dry quality will increase absolutely Vata and decreases Pitta and Kapha. The opposite of a Snigdha is Ruksha. Okay, we know that. Ruksha stimulates fire because fire is dry. Okay? So that's why it would increase Vata, but it will also increase Pitta. Remember? Is that correct on the board?
It has decreased Ruksha, right?
Ruksha increase Vata.
Increased Vata.
Yeah.
And has decreased cognitive.
Yeah, and decrease pitta and kapha. The opposite of sneha is okay. Yeah. Fear, nervousness, and loneliness are dry. Ruksha creates isolation, separation, and rejection. So, who wants anything dry? Unless you need it. When a person is lonely, the dry quality is aggravated. So you're going to see a reflection of all these gunas, not only on the physical level, but on the mental level. Because you're creating tissues. And the last tissue you create, the one before last, is that, it's nervous tissue. And you create it from that ahara rasa, from the essence of food. So according to that quality and what the gunas that this ahara has, you'll be creating all those tissues. You understand? So slimy, shlachna. The smooth quality increases pitta and kapha and decreases vata. Correct? Cheese and oils increase pitta. Avocado and ghee increases kapha. So yeah, avocado, I mean, we all love avocado, but it could increase kapha in excess, you know, you can have, because it's a little heavier in nature. I don't, this is like one of the things when you have Dr. Rao, you're gonna understand, like I don't particularly believe that ghee increases. Excess of intake of ghee will increase kapha. Okay? The same thing like ghee is not heating, ghee is cooling. So wherever you see that ghee is heating on a book, that's a mistake. Okay? Ghee is cooling, that's why you use it on burns. But I've read a couple of books where that is stated, and that is not correct. Kara, rough. The rough quality increases vata, decreases pitta and kapha. Sandra, I think we talked about the pinto beans and the garbanzo, remember? Sandra, dense. The dense quality increases kapha, decreases vata and pitta. The firmness and solidity of healthy muscle tissue is kapha. The dense quality overall is kapha increasing. So that's liquid, drava. The liquid quality promotes salivation, compassion, and cohesiveness. Excessive intake of water will cause water retention and increase kapha. We know that because remember we said that kapha is a water element, so we talked about that already. Mrudu, soft. Listen to this. Sleeping on a soft water bed increases kapha. That's funny. But you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Like even those things, like a very hard bed, if you're in Vata stage, I mean, if you're like super old, like an elderly person, like Vata constitution, imagine sleeping on a very hard bed. What would you think that do? You know, so this is the reason why I'm going through this is so you see examples from all kind of different, because absolutely everything matters, you know. Static. Oh no, Katina, right? Calluses on the hands and the feet is katina. I mean, that's like kind of like self-explanatory. So that's when you check the client, you look for these things. One thing is to have the normal cutting, the normal roughness to protect. Like that's when you go to a pedicure and you see these women, especially if you go to like this Cuban women, like they just like scream the hell out of people and they cut all that. That is actually not good. Like your foot needs it's created, like the anatomy of your foot is creating this extra tissue to compensate. There's areas that are very weak on the foot, especially on the feet. Like the feet are like so sensitive. Your whole body is drawn in your feet. You can access your thyroid gland through this part right here. This is your thyroid gland right here. So there are people that you touch them and they actually scream, you know, like your cerebrum, your brain here, like it's this spot right here. You see, so like when you go, like me personally, I do reflexology once a month, and if I don't do that, and it's interesting because I go to the lady, I leave the place and I feel great, no? Like great, oh this is great. The next day, I cannot walk, like literally, I'm like, what did she do? Like every time, and it gives me like the idea how bad or how good or how, it's amazing. And sometimes what hurts is just inside, no, the anatomy. All that hurts is the digestive system. Like all the pain is here, here, and here. And I'm walking and I'm feeling the pain just there. And I'm like, this is amazing. Sometimes it's on the big toe. It's like my head, you know, if I'm like, or the neck, if I have a neck, it's really incredible. So through the feet, so this roughness and this dryness is to protect you from something. Of course, you want it to be smooth and nice, but I'm saying that excess of like seeing like red, like okay, it's like raw, this is not good because then it's gonna create double of calluses there. It is gonna double up. And then you're gonna see the blade again and the woman using the blade and it's gonna create 3 layers of
That's how they do it. So they can continue to do it.
It's like the bone, like those that don't know, like the
They charge you extra.
$5
more, it's okay. $5
yeah. You know, it's very interesting. Even this juanete, ¿cómo se llama juanete? The sport,
the bone coming out, the bunion.
the body, yeah, like this. I've had clients who actually had surgery, like women, found it down, and it comes back. Why? Because if you're so, I'm looking for the word. Hold on, it's a pitta word. No, demanding. Like you want things a certain way, and this is how to be. Like you notice that these people, they have an X. It's like really pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing, and they actually have surgery. They file it down, and that thing grows back up. It's really, the feet is just really an incredible thing. Whoever watches this video after that's a comedy. No, really. I don't know if I want to see it. Anyhow. Let's stop it for a moment because it's 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
I get now in the mood of it.